and people directly vote to choose representative. So this mechanism is known as an indirect elections, right? Now the manner which was chosen or which is given for the president election is proportional representation with single transferable vote. There are two mechanism of voting in India. One is proportional representations, single transferable vote, and another is first past the poll system. Now this first past the poll system is applied for choosing MP, MLA or local government. What is first past the poll? 100 मीटर रेस में जो पहले क्रॉस करेगा रेस, that will be known as an, he will be considered a winner, right? So first past the poll means the person who get the maximum number of vote. In the first past the poll system, the winner is not decided on the basis of absolute majority. So absolute majority is not required. Absolute majority means 50% plus 1, right? So for in winner to choose the MP, MLA or local self-government under the first past the poll systems, the winner has to be getting maximum number of vote. So the individual who is getting a maximum number of vote will be declared as a winner of the contest. This is known as a first past the poll system. Whereas in the proportional representation with single transferable vote, this has been applied to election of president, vice president and member of Rajya Sabha. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? Now in this, the absolute majority has been considered. So to choose the candidate as a winner, the candidate who secure the absolute majority, then only it can be declared as a winner of the elections. Clear? Okay. So this is a system which is applied in India for the elections. So two mechanism is there. Now if you see the elections of president, so first it is indirect elections, right? Indirect election means the representative of people will choose, cast their vote on the basis of representative, proportional representative of single transferable vote to choose the president. Clear? Now if you see the electoral college, now when we talk about the electoral college means who can participate in the election of president. So it has a three types of electoral college which consists of three types of participant. First, elected member of parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Elected member, though we know that there are some member nominated to the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha also, but by the 104th Constitutional Amendment Act, the nomination power of a president to the Lok Sabha has been deleted, right, or to do away. I get my point. Anglo-Indian, two Anglo-Indian were to be appointed by the president in Lok Sabha, but by 104th Constitutional Amendment Act, that provision was deleted. But still the president has power to nominate 12 members into the Rajya Sabha. So only the elected members of parliament from the Lok Sabha, both houses of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, get a chance to cast their vote in a presidential election, right? Second participant is elected members of state legislative assembly, not the council, though some states have, there are 8 states who having a bicameral legislature, means assembly and council. So the council does not get a chance, member of council does not get a chance to vote in the election of president. Is this clear? Right? And the third is 2 UTs. Three, in fact, three UTs. Now, three UTs. Elected members. Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir. अभी हम समझेंगे. Through an example, we'll understand that what does the single transferable vote means. नहीं, only elected. Elected. You this. A member of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha. Elected member of State Legislative Assembly. Not the council has been included, right? Now these two UTs, that is Delhi and Puducherry, were been added by the 70th Constitutional Amendment Act. 1992 in the Electoral College of President, right? Yes or no? अभी तो हो गया, for 2000 they had been added, but the last election there was no assembly in Jammu and Kashmir, so they do not participated in the elections. Now, if there is any vacancy in the Electoral College of an election of President, so on the case of vacancy in the office of Electoral College, the election of President cannot be challenged. Election of President or Vice President cannot be challenged just because of there is a vacancy in the Electoral College. Now, what do we mean by the vacancy in the Electoral College? Now, suppose that, as we know, that State Legislative Assembly is also participant in the election of President. Yes or no? Certain UTs, three UTs are also participant in the election of President. But suppose that during the period of elections of a President, any state or one or more than one state may be dissolved and there is a President rule has been there, or the election is due, but the state election is not completed before the election of President. So the assembly, the state which do not have an assembly during the President elections will not participate in the election of President. This is called a vacancy in the Electoral College. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? So if there is a vacancy in the Electoral College, so this cannot be the ground of challenging of election petition of a President, that there is a vacancy in office of President. Is this clear? Okay, any doubt? Chaliye. Now we'll see the manner, that is a proportional representation of single transferable vote. Now how this vote has been counted. Now if we see vote, so how the MLA vote were count. So it says that total population of a state on the basis of census of 1971 divided by total number of MLA, Legislative Assembly, divide by 1 by 1000. So this is a mechanism how the number of vote of MLA has been counted. Is it clear? Now to understand this, how we arrived at the now, and one thing we need to know here is that to declare a president, any candidate as an winner of a president, it requires to gain a absolute majority, that is 50% plus 1. This mechanism has also been asked in mains once, how what are the process and how it has been done in the elections. So through this we will understand the proportional representation with single transferable voting system. Is it clear? Now for example, we will take an UP as a sample. So what we need to calculate a single vote of MLA of the UP is total population of the state, that is based on a census of 1971. So at the census of 1971, the UP has a total vote of 8 crores 38 lakh 48,797. Right? Now total MLA of UP, that is 403. Total UP population. This is UP population. Yes, because its constitution has fixed that date for the till 2026. It says that after every general censure, the population has to be counted. But it has said at the 1971 that after the 2026, the new populations will be added. Till 2026 amendment, through amendments, it says that we will consider populations of 1971. After that, there will be an increase in the number of seats also, because the population has been drastically increased. Yes, because of the, yes, this, especially the southern portion of India. The northern portion having a, there is an, actually the, we can say that a reason behind this is that unproportional value of votes. North India having a drastic increase in the populations, where the southern portion of India having a, they have a population control over them. So because of this, to give an equal representations, we have stick to that 1971. Is this clear? Yes or no? Right? Now, to calculate a number of vote of a single MLA, what we need to do is to divide the total population by total number of MLA. So what will be the answer of divisions? बताइए. Into 1 by 1000. Into 1 by 1000. So it will be 208. It will be 208. 208. So this 208 is what? यहाँ देखिए तभी समझ में आएगा how it has been counted. 208 is a single vote of MLA. Yes or no? Right? So total vote for UP MLA will be, what we need to do? Total MLA vote is 208 into 403. This will give us the total vote count of UP. So what will be the answer? 83,824. So this is a total number of vote MLA in UP. Till it is clear? Any doubt? Similarly, we need to find the vote of each of the states of 28 states and 3 UTs. Why we need to find the total number of MLAs in the country? Because we need to find the number of votes for MP. How we arrived at a single number of vote of MP is by total number of MLA in country, vote of MLA in country divided by total number of member of parliament. So to arrive this, what we need to do is to add the total value of vote of all the states. Is it clear? Yes or no? Right? So when we add this, when we add the total number of vote of MLA in country, so this will be around 5,43,231. Total number of MPs vote in country. Clear? Now, for the total number of MP, Lok Sabha member plus Rajya Sabha member elected. Right? So what is a member of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? If we see, total is 776. 543 for the Lok Sabha and 233 for the Rajya Sabha. This arrives at 776 total number of MP. Yes or no? Is there any doubt? Now to put this value in this figure, to count the number of MP. So number of MP is 543231 divided by 776. It is around 770. So single MP having a value of vote is 770. This question has also been asked in prelims. What is the single value of MP vote? This is a value of vote in 2022 election, the current president elections. Why this vote is been, and this number of value of vote for the single, this is for the single MP. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? Now, why this earlier before the 2022, in 27 it was 772. So there was deterioration of 2 vote in the elections because of a Jammu and Kashmir. Earlier in 2017, Jammu and Kashmir was a state and it was included in the electoral college. So they have also having a certain value vote, yet their value vote would be added to the total number of vote, because the Jammu and Kashmir was not a part of the election in this presidential elections. So their value vote was minus. So the total single value vote for MP is 770. Is this clear or not? क्या आ रहा है आपका 700? मैं देख लेता हूँ एक बार, हो हाँ सही हुआ है 700, राइट. और यहाँ पर 708 है टोटल इन 2017 because of a participation of Jammu and Kashmir in elections. Is this clear? बट इस बार पार्टिसिपेट थी नहीं ना, क्योंकि असेंबली नहीं था उनका. मैंने कहा ना, अगर असेंबली नहीं होगी तो पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर सकती. तो दैट कैन नॉट बी बिकम अ ग्राउंड टू चैलेंज द इलेक्शन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट, कि देयर इज अ वैकेंसी इन द ऑफिस ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट और इन द ऑफिस ऑफ इलेक्टोरल कॉलेज. अभी तो इलेक्शन हुई, देयर वाज नो. सो इन द नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन दे विल पार्टिसिपेट. सो दिस वैल्यू ऑफ सिंगल MP वोट विल बी इंक्रीज. इज दिस क्लियर? एनी डाउट? It or depends upon the population. हर 10 लाख पर एक MLA, एक MP MLA, ऐसे populations के basis पर ही करते हैं. तो जहाँ पर जितना होगा उसके accordingly हम population divide करते हैं. Populations for deciding that MP or MLA is will taken in from the census of 1971. उसके basis पे फिलहाल till 2026. बोलिए. 700 is a value for one single MP. अभी उसको आगे यहां तक अभी समझ गया ना. नाउ वी विल फाइंड द टोटल नंबर ऑफ वोट फॉर member of parliaments. So 700 into 776. So there will be a total of 5,43,200. This is a total. Why we are doing this? That to understand how to arrive at an absolute majority. Absolute majority क्या होगी? The total number of MPs vote plus total number of MLAs vote. That will let us to arrive at the absolute majority. Are you getting my point? Right? So total number of vote or MLA will is 5,43,231. Total number of votes for the MP is 5,43,200. Add the two number. Add कीजिए. Total vote equals to total MLA vote plus total MP's vote. Okay, so it is 543231 plus 543200. It has 10 lakh 431. This is the total number of vote polled by the representative in the election of president. So a candidate, the total number of vote is polled by 10 lakhs. Now a candidate need to declare as a winner is required to have an absolute majority, that is 50% plus 1. So what is a 50% plus 1 of this? अभी आपने किया ना 10,86,431, इसका हाफ कर दीजिए, इसका हाफ कर दीजिए 1/2, 5 lakhs 4 3 2 1 5 plus 1, that is 5 4 3 2 1 6. So this is a person requires an vote to be declared as a winner, that is absolute majority. Absolute majority of 5,43,200 and this is the required number. ठीक है? Is this clear? So it requires an absolute majority of this to get a winner. Now how they arrived at this number? Now this we have to discuss. ये तो calculation मैंने आपको, this is requires an absolute majority to be winner. How they have arrived? So here we will discuss the comparative study of Indian presidential voting system and French presidential voting systems. Is it clear? Now there is single difference between the Indian presidential system and French presidential system. Is first is that Indian president is elected on a basis of indirect elections, whereas in France it is a direct elections. So this is the first difference, right? So if we see the Indian president, the first, it is direct elections and it is indirect elections. Both required absolute majority to win. ठीक है? Absolute majority, that is 50% of the vote plus 1. But suppose if the none of this or neither of a candidate achieve a absolute majority, so in Indian constitution no re-election is allowed. Are you getting my point? If neither of the candidate who is contesting an election of president or vice president, if does not pass the threshold limit of absolute majority, right, that is 50% plus 1 of the majority, so there is no provisions for re-election of an president. Whereas in France, if none of the candidates arrived at an absolute majority for the first time, so there will be a re-election after 7 days. Now this re-election will be between the first top 2 candidates. This is between top 2 candidates. Then if there is a top 2 candidates, then it is very easy to acquire the absolute majority. Yes or no? अगर 2 ही लोग रेस में, तो finally we can decide who is a winner. So this is a method for electing of a France president. Till here it is clear or not? Right? But in India, to arrive at a absolute majority, in case of if there is no single absolute majority, so there is no provision of elections, what will happen? So again, now the role comes of a, that is proportional representation with single transferable vote, which means the voting in India is based on a preferences. आप जब फॉर्म डैफ भरते हो, जब भरोगे, तो you have to give a preference which service, which second, third, right? That is based on a preference. So in France, there is no such things of preference has been there. The voting, the candidate participant in the elections will not cast their vote in a preferences. But in India, the voters vote in a preferences. That first preference, I want A as a president. If suppose none arrived under absolute majority in the first counting, so now second will be, there is a counting of a second preference. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Is it clear or not? So this is proportional representation with single transferable vote. हाँ, उसको और examples explain करूँगा. So to avoid the financial expenditure incurred in an elections. The Indian framer of constitution has come up with the ideas of proportional representation with single transferable vote, because the president is an head of the executive, but not a real executive in a parliamentary form of government. So there is an unnecessary to go with the another elections, because the elections to an president incurs a lot of financial, human resource and financial resources. To avoid that resources immediately, because India cannot be without a president. So if none of the candidate secures a majority, absolute majority, it is necessary to have an elections within a very few number of days. So it is not possible for an machineries to contest or to conduct an elections in a huge geographical area. Yes or no? So to avoid this, we have opted for this proportional representation, single transferable vote. So it means if at the first instant, first counting, if none of the candidate arrived at an absolute majority, there will be a second counting till we get a winner. But in case of France, there is a direct election, so people vote directly to the candidate. If out of the given candidate, none of the candidate arrives, this is the latest scenarios in France, in the latest elections, when the president of France was not been declared at the first elections. So there will be another next elections, re-elections between the top two candidates. Now suppose that there are A, B, C, D number of candidates, right? None have arrived at the required majority. So the top two candidate, top two who has secured the maximum number of vote. So top positions will be decided by the maximum number of vote. So the candidates who secured the maximum, first the maximum, second highest, first highest and second highest, will contest an elections next after the 7 day. Then in this they will arrive the majority, absolute majority will be taken by if there is only two candidate, yes or no. But this is not the case in a Indian president. So how the Indian president elections, or how the Indian system arrives at its absolute majority, now we'll discuss with the example. Till here it is clear? Any doubt in this? वही कर रहा हूँ एग्जाम्पल के थ्रू, यहाँ तक क्लियर है या नहीं? Right? Now, for to understand this, we will take a sample of 15,000 votes. Suppose that there is 15,000 vote is to be cast, right? Now, one thing is important in the Indian president election is that it is compulsory, mandatory to have a first preference. If any voter who is voting in the elections and they did not give a first preference, so that his voting pattern or his system will be cancelled. So it is mandatory to have a first preference. It is up to the individual that they do not provide the second preference, but they have to provide the first preference. So mandatory to have first preference, right? Now suppose there are 4 candidates, A, B, C, D. Take. Now out of the 15,000, what is a required majority, absolute majority number which any candidate requires to get a winner? 75. This is a threshold limit. If any candidate who secured this amount of vote will be declared as an elected president, right? Now out of the 15,000, first suppose A got 5250 number of vote, B got 4800 number of votes, C got 2700 number of votes, and D got 2250 number of votes. Do any of the candidates secure the absolute majority? No. It means from the first counting, this is the first counting. So out of the total number of votes, candidate A got 5250 as a first preference. So this is a first preference. So 5,250 person choose A as their first preference to be an president. 4,800 people choose first preference B as a first preference to be a president. 2,700 choose first preference C as a first preference to be a president. And 250 choose their D as a first preference. So total would be 15,000. But still from this counting we do not come at an winner, because none of the have secured the absolute majority. So what will happen? So the candidate who secured the least number of vote, who is the least number of vote? D, will be eliminated from the race. So next, now there will be a second preference counting. Are you getting my point? So A having a 5250, B having 4800, C having 2700. This is the first preference of that, right? Now D is been eliminated because of the having the least number of votes. So now what will happen? Now the single transferable vote. So the D, this number of persons who choose D as their first preference, now their second preference will be checked. Are you getting my point? So these 2250 person who choose D as their first preference, so now their second preference will be checked. Only 2250 people second preference will be checked. So if suppose that now there are only 3 candidates, A, B, C, D. Now out of these, suppose that 300 has given to second preference as A. Out of 2250, 300 chosen A as a second preference. 1050 chosen B as a second preference, and 900 as an C as a second preference. Who are they? They are those who has chosen D as their first preference, right? Now this number of vote for the second preference will be transferred to all the candidates. So this is transferable vote. So 300 plus 1050 plus 900. So now after the second counting, this is 5550. A got 5550. B got 5850. And D got 360. Still after the second preference, do either of the candidate have crossed the threshold limit of 7,501? No, still we do not have any absolute majority, we do not find any winner. So next, again the least value candidate, the candidate who secured the least number of votes will be eliminated. Who is the least among? C. So he will be eliminated. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? So next round, that is for the third preference between A and B. So this is 550, 5850. Now the total number of 3600 votes, right? Their vote, third preference will be counted. That this candidate has preferred the third candidate. They have given third candidate. Now suppose for third, there is only 2 candidates, A and B. Now out of these, suppose that A got 1700 and B got 1900. So this 3600 voters who has a second preference as C has voted for their third preference A 1700. Out of 3600, they have 1700 and chosen A as their third preference, and 1900 chosen B as their third preference. So their vote will be transferred again to them. So their vote will be transferred. So this is plus 1700 plus 1900. So what will be the total of this? So if we do this total, 7250 of A acquires at 7250, whereas B got 7750. Now from this we can conclude that we have a clear winner, that is B crossed the threshold limit of 7,501 seat. Is this clear? This is means the proportional representation with single transferable vote, where initially everyone has to, the participant has to give their preferences, and first preference is mandatory. Second preference you can skip. Third preference anyone can skip, but first preference cannot be skipped. So first preference has to be given, right? After the first preference, after the voting has been done, now the counting process. So initially the first preference will be counted. On the basis of the first preference counted, if none of the candidate secured the absolute majority, 50% plus 1, then the candidate who secured the least number of votes, he will be eliminated from the race. And his second preference vote will be transferred, that it is single transferable vote. So each vote will be transferred to the other candidates. Yes or no? Then again in the counting of second second preferences, still we cannot come under the, or we cannot come out with the winner of absolute majority. Then again we will move to the third preferences. So the least candidate who secured the least number of votes in the second preference will be eliminated, and his third preferences count will be distributed among the remaining candidate. Then again there will be a counting. So through this mechanism we can say that India can arrive at, without having a re-elections of a president, without incurring so much money onto the elections, it will arrive a candidate or winner with an absolute majority, which is an opposite to the France, where a re-election is allowed. Is this clear or not? ये कैलकुलेशन आपको कहीं लिखनी नहीं है, जस्ट नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. आई मीन एग्जाम में ये कैलकुलेशन नहीं आएगा, जस्ट नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट डज द proportional representation single transferable vote is mean. Any doubt? वो तो नॉर्मल है, जिसको मैक्सिमम वोट मिल गया. सपोज देयर आर 4 कैंडिडेट्स और 5 कैंडिडेट्स, ठीक है, एंड देयर आर 100 कैंडिडेट्स. एक मिनट, there are 100 candidates who 100 voters who are voting. Now out of this, एक और कर लेते हैं. A got suppose 20, one got 15, then 10, 45, again 30. This is the number of distributions, right? So none of, अगर हम, if we go with the absolute majority, so what would be the absolute majority required for this is 50 plus 1, that is 51 number of seats. So which candidate has secured a absolute majority? None. And who secured the maximum number of vote? E. So he will declare winner. First past the poll. 100 meter race होता है ना, तो who the candidate who crossed the line first declare winner. So who the candidate who cross the line first means secured a maximum of the vote will be declared winner. This is first past the poll systems. Yes ma'am. हाँ ठीक है, उतने सीट्स हो गए फिर, but still we do not get a winner because of absolute majority. Now there will be single transfer. If in the first preference we do not get a absolute winner, so we will go to the second preference. There will be transfer the vote of the candidate who secured the least amount of preferences vote. नहीं ये सब याद नहीं करना है, just you need to understand. इलेक्शन से एक ही क्वेश्चन आया, व्हाट इज द मेथड ऑफ इलेक्शंस. वो इलेक्शन ऑफ मेथड में वो लिखना है आपको. ये तो टोटल एमपी का वोट हो गया, ये काउंटिंग नहीं लिखनी है आपको. एमएलए, हाउ वी राइव द एमएलए वोट? टोटल पॉपुलेशन ऑफ ए स्टेट डिवाइड बाय टोटल नंबर ऑफ एमएलए मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 1/1000 to arrive the vote of MLA. Then number of vote of MP, that is total number of MLAs in a country, vote of MLA in a country divided by total number of MPs. एक ही बार क्वेश्चन आया, वो भी यही आया. This is just to understand how the elections and counting in the president has been done and what does the proportional representation with single transferable vote means. इसको याद नहीं करना है, इसको कुछ भी नहीं करना है, just to understand this. इज दिस क्लियर? एनी क्वेश्चन? क्योंकि अभी तक हम वी डू नॉट अराइव्ड एट अ एब्सोल्यूट मेजोरिटी. From here, this is the first preference. This is the first preference, right? What we required are a candidate to get a winner. Do we have a winner? So we move to the second preference. आ रहा हूँ. Second preference के लिए हम क्या करेंगे? The candidate who secured the least number of votes will be eliminated. अब इसका जो in 20 to 50 number of candidates has chosen a second preference, whom they want to be a, if the first is not as a preference, second as whom. So that will be transferred to them. Again, if after transferring all this, we calculate. Again, there is no one is who pass the threshold, right? So again, the least will be eliminated. And his third preference means second and first preference done. Now this 3600 to arrive at the 7 और क्या लेंगे? वो तो हो चुका ना, second is done. किसका लिया? वो तो इनको ऐड ट्रांसफर किया ना इनमें वोट में, इनके वोट को हमने ट्रांसफर किया यहाँ पर और उसके बाद ये नंबर ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स अराइव्ड हुए. Now we'll take the second preference, third preference of them. Then again we will arrive this. इधर से कोई कुछ पूछ रहा था जी. तो D का तो हम ले ही नहीं रहे थर्ड प्रेफरेंस, उनका सिर्फ B लिया. उनके नंबर ऑफ वोट्स को ट्रांसफर कर दिया हमने C के पास, ABC में. ABC में सेकंड प्रेफरेंस का ट्रांसफर कर दिया, राइट? नाउ अगेन अब उसमें भी नहीं आया तो देन द लीस्ट कैंडिडेट जो है जिसको सिक्योर द दिस नंबर ऑफ वोट, so that will also eliminated, but his third preference, number of this candidate, इतने लोगों ने C को सेकंड प्रेफरेंस में रखा, राइट? अब इनका थर्ड प्रेफरेंस हम देखेंगे, इतने कैंडिडेट किसको किसको थर्ड प्रेफरेंस में दे रहे हैं. नहीं, D को तो फिर काउंट इन, D को हाँ, अगर फिर मान लीजिए यहाँ पर और नंबर ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स बढ़ रहे हैं, मैंने तो सिर्फ 4 लिए, 10 कैंडिडेट्स हों तो नंबर ऑफ प्रेफरेंस 10 प्रेफरेंस होंगे ना फिर तो. Yes or no? अगर 10 कैंडिडेट्स हैं तो देयर विल बी नंबर ऑफ प्रेफरेंस विल बी 10, अकॉर्डिंगली वैसे बढ़ेंगे. सिर्फ 2 ही हैं तब तो इजीली विल देयर विल बी एन इजी टू गेट द, और देयर इफ देयर इज ओनली वन तो फिर कुछ कहना ही नहीं. Yes or no? It depends upon number of candidates. Why we have chosen, why we this mechanism has not been chosen in the MP or MLA? हो सकता है ना, देख क्यों नहीं किया हमने? Yes, it is hard to understand क्योंकि the majority of our population is illiterate. तो सिर्फ ये कर सकते हैं कि मोहर लगा सकते हैं, प्रेफरेंस नहीं दे सकते कि फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस किसको दें, सेकंड प्रेफरेंस किसको दें. Are you getting my point? And through this also we cannot be arriving at the clear majority for any single largest party. So this is the reason why we have not opted for this preferential transferable vote, proportional representation of single transferable vote in the MP or MLA elections. Is this clear? ज़्यादा load नहीं लेना है. This is just to understand. Top candidate. जो भी टॉप ए और डी भी हो सकता है, टॉप कैंडिडेट. हाँ, तो पब्लिक फिर वोट करेगी उनके दोनों के बीच में. वो जो मैंने कहा वो था आपका, दैट इज फॉर फ्रांस. तो फिर वो कहाँ आप कह रहे हैं कि मैं दोनों को ट्रांसफर कर रहा हूँ वोट. फ्रांस में प्रेसिडेंट का इलेक्शन ऐसे होता है, वहां पर प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन सिंगल ट्रांसफरेबल वोट नहीं है. ये मैकेनिज्म इंडिया में है. आर गेटिंग माई पॉइंट? how they arrived at their winner is through this mechanism. Direct elections, absolute majority. If no one arrived at the absolute majority, then there will be re-election after 7 days between the top 2 candidate. अब तो वहाँ पर फिर elections होंगे दोबारा, वहाँ पर voting easy हो जाएगा. Easily we can arrive at the absolute majority. ठीक है, जो ट्रांसफर हो रहा है वो इसमें है, अंडर दिस. इज इट क्लियर? बताया तो we do not have a presidential form of government. We have a parliamentary form of government. तो election एक तो participant. Now here we need to understand why we have chosen an indirect election for president. फ्रांस में direct election है, हमारे यहाँ indirect elections है. Why we have as an indirect election for president? Yes, because of yes. So if a candidate of president is chosen directly by the people, there will be dispute between the two of us. President will also, I have also been chosen by the people. Why I should follow your order? Are you getting my point? So to avoid this sort of disputes, and also that it is not a real executive. So because of this, we have chosen indirect elections. France में why they have been going? Because there is a direct elections. हमारे यहाँ MP MLA के लिए ऐसा कोई सिस्टम नहीं है. अगर if there is no one maximum number of seats, the person who arrives at the maximum number of vote can be declared as a winner. Anything else? यही जो क्वेश्चन था अभी last 2 years back, what is a I mean India and France president, बस यही लिखना था उसमें. ये काउंटिंग नहीं लिखना है, बस this is the differences what we have discussed. हाँ जी, वोट ऑफ एन एमएलए. हाँ, बिल्कुल डिफर करेगा. नहीं, टोटल नंबर ऑफ, एवरेज नहीं, टोटल नंबर ऑफ वोट. हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ वोट ऑफ एमएलए इज इन यूपी एंड लीस्ट इज इन सिक्किम, क्योंकि वहां पर नंबर ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स, पॉपुलेशन और नंबर ऑफ एमएलए भी कम है. सो डिपेंड अपॉन द स्टेट. यस, इट विल ऑलवेज बी वैरी फ्रॉम द स्टेट टू स्टेट, एंड दैट इज बी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द पॉपुलेशन. ये क्वेश्चन अभी पिछले 23 के प्रीलिम्स में थे. अगर आप प्रीलिम्स का क्वेश्चन देखें तो यू विल कम टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस मैकेनिज्म. थ्रू दिस यू कैन ऑल्सो आंसर दैट कि इफ अ पॉपुलेशन ऑफ एन स्टेट इज मोर, देन इट्स वैल्यू ऑफ वोट इज बी मोर. यस, UP has a more population, so its value of vote is more. You can go through the questions of 2023. Do you anyone have the questions? चलिए, I will see that questions and let you know. आप देख सकते हैं that question has been asked. So through this also we can understand the value of vote of a state is depend upon its populations. If the state has a larger population, so they will have a more number of MLA. More number of MLA, right? So then will be more number of votes. Sikkim has a least population, they have a least number of MLA. Now, so because of the populations. Is this clear? Any doubt? No? So this is election mechanism of Indian president and France president. So this election of president is clear?